Creating a festive fall table is easy, and actually personalizing it is even easier if you have two things: this idea and some Bic Market markers. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at these adorable wine charms. These are made from shrink plastic, but decorated and personalized with an array of colors of Bic Market markers. Now let me give you some great tips and ideas on how to create this project yourself. It is so super simple. Okay, first of all, what you're gonna need are some Bic Market markers. Now I'm using the whole palette of colors. I'm using the 36 colors, and I'm using the ultra fine and the fine tips. The ultra fine are perfect for detailing, and the fine tips, well, they're fine. So here's what I want to tell you. First of all, when it comes to using shrink plastic, there are several different brands to choose from. So if I were you, I'd do some research online, figure out which one works best for you, because I happen to like this one right here. It's called shrink plastic. There's shrink art, all kinds of different words. But I'm using shrink plastic today. And I'm using a variety of colors of the Bic Market markers. Now, these dark colors here, these are great for writing names and personalizing, but I like to use, let me take these out actually, all of the light colors when creating my design, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. Okay, let me just give you a little tip here. The plastic shrinks down to about 40% of its original size. So I really liked this pattern right here. So what I did is I used it to create this wine charm, but I found that this wine charm was still just a little bit too big. So you're gonna kind of have to play with the sizes a little bit. I went ahead and I made copies of this on my copy machine, and I shrunk it down even more. Look at this. You can see the difference in sizes. And this was still just a little bit too big for my wine charm. So what I chose to do is just draw inside the lines. You're just gonna have to kind of gauge it for yourself, depending on what size you want your wine charms to be. But this, I actually drew this photo right here, or this picture. And I did some blending with blending medium, which there is a video with some great tips on how to blend. So be sure and check that out if you want to do something like this, because it's fabulous with the Market markers. So I went ahead and I drew this design out, and this is the size that it came out to be. It was perfect. So you're going to need to just experiment with the sizes just a little bit, seeing what you like for your wine glass. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to take my first piece of plastic here, and I'm going to lay it on top. You can, because it's a frosted plastic, you can lay it on top of a design and trace right over it, or you can go freehand, whatever you choose to do. So let's just go with the pumpkin because it really works out perfectly. So I'm going to put that right over my design, and I'm going to start with, let's just start with, oh, and by the way, go right into the corner there so you can use up as much of the shrink plastic as you possibly can. And I'm just going to go ahead and take my marker and trace around it. And here's the best part about this is you do not have to be an artist. I'm telling you. Shrink plastic is very forgiving, okay? Now let me remove that so you can see what I have there. I have that great little pumpkin. So now what I'm going to do is just going to go in and I'm going to, watch this. You're going to be amazed. I'm going to do just some shading. And again, I'm using the lighter colors. This one is the Harvest Orange color. And then I'm going to go back in, add the green on my stem. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's not even staying in the lines. Trust me when I tell you this. Watch this. I'm going in, I'm just kind of enhancing the lines. I'm trying not to draw over some of the other colors because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and blend them. And you know what I think I'm going to do? Go in with just a little bit of brown. Filling in all the white spaces here. And you're thinking, Terry, you're crazy. Trust me, this is going to work. I might even go back in with just a few. Now detail with the darker colors or go in with your fine tips and do a little bit more detailing, not too much, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blending medium. I'm just using some cotton swabs, and a little goes a long way here. Just put just a little bit on the tip, just like that. It's not dripping, okay? It's just perfectly moist. Now watch this. I'm just going to lightly go in, and you're going to see how all these colors just kind of blend together. A very light touch. You want to just give this a super, super light touch. Okay, just like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is cut this out and get as close to the line as I possibly can. Okay, let me just show you something right here, because I realized as I was cutting it, I'm going to widen this up a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. Because as your wine charm, you want to have a nice size hole to put your little jump ring in so that you can attach it to your glass. That's really, really important. You don't want to forget that. You want to make sure that before you shrink it, you punch a hole in the top, because this is where you're going to attach it to the glass, just like that, okay? Now we're ready to shrink it. All right, I'm going to lay my shrink plastic on a heat-resistant surface. Very important. There's two ways to shrink your plastic. You can put it in the oven, or you can use a heat crafting tool, a heat gun, an embossing tool, whatever you call it. It's basically it looks like a hairdryer, but it's not. It gets very, very hot. And I really want you to know that you need to use extra caution with this. I would not allow the children to use this at all. It does get very hot, but wait until you see what it does. Check it out. You want to hold it over the surface, keep it moving, and what will begin to happen is your project will begin to curl up and disform. Don't panic, because what curls up must uncurl. I always like to keep a long skewer on hand too, so you can, if it flips or moves around, I can put it back in. And you'll notice there's that one little divot right there. I'll keep it on there just a little bit longer, and it will work itself out. You just have to use a little patience when you use a heat gun. If you want to, and do a whole bunch of them, you put them all in the oven at the same time and do them all at the same time. Just make sure you follow the manufacturer's directions, depending on what type of shrink plastic you're using. They're different in varying heat temperatures and different precautions that you'll want to follow. Okay, I think we're done. Now we're just going to let that cool just a little bit. While that's cooling, let me show you a few of the other things that you'll want to have on hand. You'll want some jump rings. These are called jump rings. And you're going to use these to attach your wine charms to some wire. You can use ribbon or raffia. I chose to use wire, and I just twisted the wire just like this and created a little hook, if you will, so that I could easily unhook the wine charms when we're finished with our event, and everybody can take their own wine charm home. Let me give you a little idea here of how I did it. You see? Just like that. Whoops. Okay. I think it's cool. We'll test it. Oh my gosh. Look at how adorable that is. Isn't that a... Oh, I think that is so cute. Now, here's a point of reference. It went from this size to this size. Now, if you want to personalize it, I would definitely write the name first. If not, you can just create your wine charm just like this and use them year after year. All right, I have lots of great ideas for you when it comes to using Bic Market markers, and I'll tell you what, if you log onto their website, bicmarket.com, there are hundreds of projects to choose from.